The South Koreans have chosen their next president. Lee Jae-myung will be sworn in at 11 a.m. local time or 10 a.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong after winning a snap election triggered by the ouster of Yoon Suk Yeol for declaring martial law and sparking a constitutional crisis.
Nearly 80% of eligible voters cast their ballots, the highest turnout for a presidential election in decades. The Liberal candidate has vowed to unite all South Koreans, revive the economy and seek peace with nuclear-armed North Korea through dialogue. Closest rival, the People Power Party's Kim Moon-soo, has conceded the race and congratulated Mr. Lee.
So who exactly is Lee Jae-myung and what will his priorities be? The CNA's senior correspondent, Yoon Suk, has some answers.
Lee Jae-myung was born in 1964 in the southeastern city of Andong in North Gyeongsang Province. He grew up in deep poverty. His mother worked odd jobs as a farmer, cleaner, and street vendor to support her family. At the age of 14, Lee Jae-myung himself started working at factories, where an industrial accident permanently injured his left arm. Though he had stopped school, he studied on his own and eventually earned a law degree from Yonsei University in Seoul. He became a lawyer and activist, and then mayor of Seongnam City, located within Gyeonggi Province, in 2010. One of his achievements during his 8 years as mayor was to shut the country's largest dog meat market, ending the decades-old trade. He moved up to serve for more than 3 years as the governor of Gyeonggi Province, the most populous region surrounding capital Seoul. Despite his achievements, his political career was also marred by lawsuits and scandals. And in 2024, he survived an assassination attempt, a stab in the neck, by a man posing to be his supporter. This is the 60-year-old's third run for president. In 2017, he lost the Democratic Party candidacy to eventual winner Moon Jae-in. In 2022, he clinched the party nomination, but lost by a razor-thin margin to Yoon Suk Yeol. This time, he succeeded and has now become South Korea's newly elected president. Mr. Lee has vowed to increase spending on artificial intelligence and make defense one of the country's key industries. He wants to ease tensions with North Korea while maintaining the goal of denuclearization. And with the United States, he has said it is more important to put South Korea's interests first, whether in defense or trade. Yoon Suk, CNA, Seoul.
For more insight on the path ahead for South Korea under President Lee, let's speak now with Dr. Jae Moon, a distinguished professor at Yonsei University. He is joining us from Seoul this morning. Professor Moon, firstly, I want to get your initial reaction to the election results and the record turnout. Would you say this reflects a clear mandate from the people for political change and stability?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we have had very long, turbulent political landscape for 6 months, and I think the high turnout in the vote that really demonstrate how people really interested in going back to the normal and restore the democratic norms. And also the economic downturn is also very stressful. So that I think people really want to remove the political uncertainty at this point, and I think that really showed the big turnout in the vote.
Professor Moon, help us understand the psyche, if you like, what's on South Koreans' minds at this point, because in a speech earlier, Mr. Yi said recovering South Korea's democracy is going to be his first priority. I mean, I know the economy, the cost of living issues, and foreign policy have been mentioned, but he chose, to say that democracy would be his first priority. I mean, why did he say that in particular?
Well, the snap election is basically, we have that because of the abrupt martial law declaration December 3rd last year. And that's a really big political turbulence in Korea. And that really destroyed the political system here, and the people really want to have the democracy back, and I think that has been a lot of political protest on the street, and that eventually polarized the society as well, so that people really want to get democracy back. And for last 6 months, I think the Korean society really shows the democratic resilience. And yesterday, presidential election really showed how Korea can be stabilized politically again. And of course, the economic aspect is also a big concern to many
Sure.
Korean people as well.
Professor Moon, I want to ask you a little bit about this seeming contradiction. In leading up to the polls, South Koreans say they wanted unity, but they also said at the same time they want accountability for those responsible for that martial law decree. I mean, can they both be done at the same time?
Well, the insurrection charge being in court, I think a lot of investigation will be done for next. I think it'll take long, but I think for next year they really go back to the martial law declaration and insurrection charges, and I think that's a really a big thing to the new president. At the same time, he doesn't want to show as a political revenge, so that legal accountability is one thing, and then really uniting the society is another one. I think there are several balls he's juggling, and I think he should be very balanced. I think he's the one who can really want to do that.
Okay, and Professor, Mr. Lee has proposed a constitutional amendment to allow a 4-year two-term presidency, breaking away from the current single 5-year term. Given the country's political landscape and recent turmoil, how feasible is that reform, both politically and publicly?
Yeah, political reforms and constitutional amendment is not really easy. Of course, during the campaign period, the constitutional amendment was one of the agenda. And all the candidates actually agree on the constitutional amendment, despite there are subtle differences among candidates. But anyway, President Lee actually he proposed 2 terms, 4 years, and I think the proposal pledge was basically he wanted to get it done during his term. But I think it's once the idea proposed, the constitutional amendment, a lot of people really get focused on that agenda, and there is the contest among different political agenda and policy agendas, so that it could be a black hole. So that I don't think it's really easy to get through that, but I'm sure that will be one of the political agenda during his tenure.
Okay, and in terms of foreign policy, Professor, how much of Mr. Lee's predecessor Yoon's approach is likely to be dismantled or preserved or reshaped under the new leader?
Well, shortly speaking, President Lee's diplomatic position is basically balanced and pragmatic. So that on the one hand, he really tried to strengthen the military ally with the United States and really maintain a good trilateral relationship, Korea, South Korea, United States, and Japan, and navigate the geopolitical issues in this area. At the same time, he really wants to build a relationship with China, China as the largest trading partner with Korea, so that he really wants to go back to the normal relationship with China, and then change it from the very frosty relationship in previous administration. At the same time, I think he will continue, restore the sunshine policy toward North Korea, so that more engagement policy with North Korea, which will be very different from the previous administration. So that basically, the strengthening the military ally with the United States, that might be similar. At the same time, balanced and pragmatic for national interest. And I think that's pretty much distinctive aspects compared to the previous administration foreign policy.